It's one heck of an angle. So there is a historic sign here, which again often means a little bit, but not everything in terms of protecting the place. And already at the base of the sign itself is a sort of lost, decaying headstone here. But already you can see this carved out area here, suggesting that again the modern day borders have changed from what it originally was. And approaching this corner here, you can see there's this one main stone here, and then whatever these chunks may be at the bottom, it looks like they might even be part of an old section or row marker here. And there's been some movement back here. I'm not seeing any headstones or anything, but definitely a little bit of damage here at the very edge of the bush, and some memorials here that are leaning and about ready to fall. Probably a few more years before it will actually fall and need to be righted again, but obviously hopefully they do something well before that time. And on the other side you can see a couple more, most likely their own markers and not a piece of an arrangement. And again directly, oh, here is one that has been actually lost into the bush here. You can see a section of it remains, and a lot of it's probably actually buried. Kind of difficult to tell where though. It kind of looks like this itself might have been moved at some point. It's kind of weird. Just a few feet from the edge too. And again, if you look, it's just a cornfield about 50 feet that way. So, very interesting. Very interesting looking. I think it was an old barbed wire fence. And I almost missed it. It's crazy that there actually is a family section right here. There's no headstones actually left in it at all. But you can definitely tell the distinctive borders going all the way around here. Yeah, no mistaking it. That's crazy. It's kind of sad. And you can kind of see here, I can feel the stone below. There's either a headstone buried right there under the grass, or that's where the base stone is. So there's probably a lot that's missing. So that's 1883 right there, and a very narrow miss, and it might have actually hit just the edge of it and took this stone with it backwards, but it could have ended up a lot worse. Wow. So definitely a few things that need to be picked up, a lot of things that need to be organized, and still a lot of missing stuff that probably will never be found, or it'll be many years before they can find it again. I'm not sure exactly why they're slightly different toned. It might just be part of the process, and everything that gets cut might be slightly different from the next, but you can see that something is down here. Again, incredibly worn and decayed to the point where you can't read it. Pretty substantial memorial here that has cracked, and a big dip in the ground right in front of it, which may have been the reason why it cracked and fell over to begin with. Another headstone that's just been leaned up against something else. You can tell this actually was a member of the Odd Fellows here. But too difficult to read this particular stone here unless the writing's on the other side. But I'd really hate to disturb it at this point. This one would appear to be the last remaining one in this little section here, but you can actually tell behind it here is something else. Again, well, actually, yeah, I can definitely tell it's an actual headstone because you can see that it is one with only the initials on it, and so it would have been standing up at one point. And another section here where a lot of the probably lost stones have been gathered. Obviously you can tell a lot of these only had initials, so it's probably a little bit harder to tell where they came from. And so yeah, I don't know what exactly they do other than looking up historical records to find out where they would go and put them back in the right place. And again, it's hard to tell when stuff like that will even happen. And yet another one right here with pretty decent writing and pretty cool inscription too, but yet just needs to be freed from the grass here and stood back up. I'm not really sure. There's actually a chunk of something right here, and it's very possible, although I think kind of unlikely, but possible that they actually are part of the same memorial. This is interesting here. Huh. I've never seen anybody actually leave a message about it. So apparently this place has had a lot of damage done to it over the years. An incredibly interesting place too. So it's kind of a shame. So I'm guessing these are really incredibly thick stones right here were actually replacements for the broken up bits that you see. Yeah, you can even tell that these were replacements, and what they did is put them in the mold so that it would strengthen them to protect it from any further damage. And another one of the original where the stone would have connected to the original base stone is sticking up out of the dirt right here. And this here appears to be a very small ground level crypt here, and again, everything is so worn away here that it's really hard to tell what exactly would have been written here. And again, as I was saying, you can see that what was left of them was placed into a cement mold and basically molded into a much larger stone, which is a really good idea again, and seems like it will help to preserve these for quite some time, although the unfortunate part is the sad reasoning behind having to do that. But this one here, you can still read the writing. Most of them are so worn that it's near impossible to tell. But the closer I get, it does seem that some of them are faint, but they're actually still readable. So that's cool. And this one directly ahead has a lot of headstones that probably were unable, or the exact spots where they once remained were unable to be located, and so they were placed here centrally. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but you can definitely tell that that's what the reasoning was behind this here, especially with the sign at the front. makes me wonder too if this actually has been replaced too. I a lot of times see heavy decay on the ground level crypts, and this looks almost brand new, almost as if it's been poured in the last few months even. And next to it, or excuse me, right in front of it here is an amazing granite marker, which I think actually is original. And again, you can see all these. I think I understand what they're talking about. I don't know where a lot of this came from, but this debris does kind of match as if somebody had taken like a hammer to this, or like a baseball bat, something like that. And about midway through, it looks like there's even like a headstone either tossed over here, or maybe it was leaned up against the bigger headstone that represents these two above ground crypts here, or it may just be sort of deceiving and actually a part of the original installation. But the memorials seem to be in pretty good condition though. However, there is one that's hiding way back. Almost completely covered up now. Really hard to tell if there's any writing on it anywhere. And I don't think that there's anything legible anywhere. However, that does seem to be the only thing that's back here, which is kind of good news, but still a little confusing once again. And over here, this seems to be the very back section, and you can even see right next to it literally backs up into a current day cornfield. Let's check this one right here too and see if there's anything behind it, and if we can get any information off of it. Again, seems to be incredibly hard, really deteriorated over the years. There's something back here for sure. I can't tell exactly what it is, but it is a piece of an old headstone, although it's possible that the rest of it has been moved. However, there is more back here. There's some stuff right in the brush here, and then moving forward is actually, I don't know if it's part of an old burn barrel or what it is, but that's pretty much it, aside from a bunch of other little decorative stones. God, I don't know, this section is so big. It's really difficult to say with absolute certainty, aside from going through the entire thing, whether or not there's anything that's been left behind. And look at the incredible writing on some of these. And I don't know where this came from. Obviously, none of the stones in this row have that particular style of topper, or really have anything that would be stacked on top of them at all. So I don't know, it must have been thrown around. As scanning around, it's actually kind of difficult, and my best guess would be right over here. But you can see that this one actually has its topper right here. So I don't know, that's weird. But yeah, maybe it came from this one. It seems like it'd be fairly large, and I think that what is here actually represents the original top piece. And another sad discovery here. This is a section of headstone. You can see the name there popping up out of the dirt. Yeah, I don't know where it would have came from. Doesn't really appear to match any of these people here. Wow. And this has almost completely disappeared here. Kind of looks like it's meant to be shaped like a memorial that we found before. Kind of looks like a little baby's bed or a cradle, and probably at one time would have had some sort of plants or flowers placed in the center, and a very interesting colored memorial directly behind it, which oddly, despite being from the 40s, still has the free marker that came with it from the funeral home. So again, when they're saying that a lot of it couldn't be repaired, that may be some of the reason. A lot of things may have been damaged to the point where it was literally just like the debris that we're finding.